It's a Teen Talk Skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode number 60 of the Teen Talk Skating podcast. We are really getting up in those numbers, which really scares me. My name is Van Gogh, and welcome to our podcast where we talk about figure skating from a great viewpoint of a teenager who doesn't know half the stuff that's happening in any of his classes. So he's very qualified to talk about figure skating. I hope you all are doing very, very well. I can't say that this was a bad week. It just kind of wasn't that interesting. Aced my chemistry quiz though. So you take your victories where you can, you know what I mean? You have to, or otherwise, like, you kind of just like, I don't know, you kind of just like flop. And I'm trying not to flop, honestly. And so yeah, I did that. I hope you guys are doing well in all the other sectors of your life. I don't know what I'm saying half the time in this podcast in the beginning, but it's fine. I don't know what I'm doing with my computer right now. Anyway, we should probably get into like the program of the week or whatever, because we have a lot to talk about today for sure. And so I cannot be wasting this time dilly-dallying telling you guys about my life. So let's get to our program of the week, which you will hear after an amazing theme song that I made myself on GarageBand. Program of the week. Okay, so this program of the week is from a skater that we all know, that we all love these days, but I feel like she kind of had like a kind of underdog beginning almost, and this is from more of the beginning of her career, and that is from our current three-time world champ, Kari Sakamoto of Japan. But this is a bit of a throwback. We know Kari right now is like the very mature, strong skater, and this is kind of when she was kind of new to the senior ranks, where she was not as experienced, but it still shows so much of her finesse and prowess even at that younger age. And so the program I've chosen today is her free skate from the 2018 Grand Prix of Helsinki. This program is set to music I actually can remember, which is the Piano by Michael Nyman and Wild Side by Roberto. I don't know how to say his last name. Sorry, that's my clickety clackety. Roberto Cacciapaglia. I'm very sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but yeah. Very beautiful pieces of music. She kind of does a medley of everything, and this program really does show elegance and grace, and we love that on this program on this podcast. And so I really appreciate this program because it kind of shows you how good Kari Sakamoto already was. And the opening triple flip, triple toe just flows just up and down like it's nothing. She gets a beautiful exiting edge out of it. And so all her jumps are great in this program. They're all clean, all very well done. I would say her style cows and her loops, they have like that large, like sweeping leg out on those exits. That's just like so beautiful. The step sequence is definitely my favorite part of this program because it is a little slower. It isn't a super hectic or super fast step sequence, but she kind of has the time to kind of extend her body further in all these different directions, putting her leg out, putting her leg back, putting her leg to the side, leaning forward, leaning back, kind of lunging, kind of crouching, and like going up and down. It's just it kind of flows everywhere and it goes really nice with the piano music. And I just really appreciate that kind of step sequence where you kind of go with what the music kind of tells you. It almost doesn't feel choreographed. It almost felt very organic, which is I think what skaters should be striving to do with their skating, is to make it look so organic, just kind of like put together on the spot, even though they've trained for hours and hours and days and months. Another part of this program I really love is the combo, the double axel, triple toe, double toe. That's just so like she hit it. You know what I mean? Like she hit the spot with that one. Like so satisfying to watch. And then she does a choreo sequence. It's 3 spirals in a row. Very beautiful. She does a bobble on the second one, but who cares? She does the third spiral, and then she immediately goes into triple loop, lands it. The crowd goes wild because she's got a clean program. Spins at the end are amazing, and her reaction is everything to watch. And so, again, I really do think this program shows kind of like just how good Carissa was even the beginning of her senior career, and I like that natural talent she had and she still has today. And again, amazing show of like skating skills even at this younger age, deep edges and nice flow across the ice going back and forth. Beautiful program for sure for Kari Sakamoto. So please check it out after you watch this episode. Kari Sakamoto, her free skate at the 2018 Grand Prix of Helsinki. It's an amazing program. It may even make you cry. I don't know about you, but it might make me cry. might make you cry. Anyway, it's time for our very long and very fun and very hectic May episode. That was your program of the week. Okay, everybody, so we are really getting down to the wire because next week, literally 1 week from when I'm recording this, actually, well, I like started a bit before. Like, it's not even 1 week, it's like 5 days. That's like crazy. 5 days from now, the Friday that I'm recording this, 5 days from now, the 2025 World Figure Skating Championships will be happening, which is a sentence I didn't think I would say so soon because it really does feel like we just hit the 2022 Olympics like a year ago. Like, it felt like yesterday that I was so young watching the Olympics on my living room couch and like, I should start a podcast about this one day. And here we are a few years later, and that's really crazy to me that we're even talking about that kind of thing happening in figure skating, that it is going to be the 2025 Figure Skating Championships. I cannot stress enough that this is the most important competition of the whole entire quad cycle. So obviously we track the quad cycle from the 2022 Olympics to the 2026 Olympics. And in between that, we have these 4 seasons called the quads. And this competition is the most important competition of these whole quads. 2025 World is the most important competition of the whole entire quad. Obviously, aside from the Olympics themselves, but the Olympics are kind of the end goal, and this is the journey up to the Olympics. And the 2025 Worlds is kind of the like epitome of the whole journey. Like, this is where like you prove yourself and you prove your journey. Why is this competition so important? Why am I using this such a serious tone while talking about this competition? You might ask. Well, I will say that the 2025 World Figure Skating Championships, depending on how skaters do, it will decide the bulk majority of Olympic spots for countries. There is a lot of complicated math that goes behind this process, but basically, if you do really, really well, your country in a discipline, let's say the US in the men's discipline, if they do really, really well, they might be able to send 3 men's skaters, the US, to the next Olympics. But perhaps they don't do so well, they might be only able to send 1 men's skater to the Olympics. And maybe they don't do very well at all. A country might not even earn a spot at these worlds and they'll have to go to another competition to earn spots, which might even be even more competitive because everybody wants those spots. And so with the bulk majority of Olympic spots for countries being decided here at Worlds, this is where skiers really, really need to put out their best performance of the whole quad because that will define how many spots their country gets. And obviously, even if you earn a spot, you're not guaranteed to get that spot. So you want to make sure you have a bit of leeway so in case you don't do so well next season, you could still go to the Olympics. And so there's a lot of math and kind of like structure behind this whole idea, but basically, do as well as possible because that is going to earn you Olympic spots. Obviously, it also earns you world standing points like every other competition, but Worlds has the most ability to give you world standing points. So this can really move people up the standings. And people want to be moved up the standings to get good Grand Prix spots, good placement in the short program at competitions, and like what order you'll skate in. Obviously, if you skate later, you'll probably get better scores. You also just want world standing points to be like number 1 in the world, top 10 in the world, decides again Grand Prix spots, short program placement, etc. World standing points also count towards the team event at the next Olympics. So at the Olympics, there is a special team event with countries, and so you want to earn as many world standing points as possible because those add up with every other skater in your country, and whatever countries have the most will be able to compete in the team event. Grand Prix spots next season, like I said, you really want to do well at Worlds because it earns you Grand Prix spots next season, and then those Grand Prix next season will be, again, really competitive because they will really show who is kind of up there next season, who's really going to shine at the Olympics, that building up the momentum that I'm always talking about. Like, it's just super important. And so many other things that this world is super important for. But again, it is really the biggest chance to prove yourself going into this Olympic season. Your goal is to do as well as possible here to really set yourself up for the most success next season. And so while that could be difficult, if you that can really be difficult if perhaps you don't get the best placement here. And so it's all about building momentum. I've talked about that this whole season. This season has always been about building momentum for the Olympic season. And this is the competition where building momentum matters the most. And so you will really want to build towards that. And yeah, we'll see what will happen at these worlds. And so, again, I could go on and on, but that's all I'm going to do. And so today, after that 5-minute rant, sorry. Today, we are going to do a preview episode. So I'm going to look at what skaters slash teams will place where, in my opinion, based on, their trajectory that this season, their technical potential, what results they've had, how they place at certain competitions, and a little bit of bias. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit biased sometimes, but And so I'm doing the top 12 predictions in the men's and women's field, the top 6 predictions in the pairs field, and I think the top 10 predictions in the ice dance field. But I wrote 8 because I'm dumb. But I honestly, again, these predictions obviously are not definite because a skater I predict could be first place could end up in last place. It really it could anything happen. So I am definitely very, very prepared to be proven wrong, and I expect to be proven wrong. I don't expect that any of these results are going to be the actual results because I'm not like the god of figure skating. The figure skating gods don't like me, and honestly, who do they like? Because they don't like anybody. So yeah, again, I'm gonna be covering the men, the women, the pairs, and ice dance in that order. Starting with the men. The men are always a chaotic competition. Scoring potential is really wild for pretty much every skater. Some skaters might score in the 301 competition and find it hard to break 240 in the next one. So it is really going to depend on consistency. Like every men's competition, it is about who can be the most consistent and clean with their jumps, especially when the jumps, the quads, especially, are pretty much the main emphasis of the men's discipline currently. And those are the ones that are going to earn you the points. And so that's our kind of overlook for the men. But at this point, like, what's the point of making predictions for the men because it's the men and they always it never works out. But we're gonna start with 12th place. In 12th place, I have one of my favorite skaters, Jason Brown, of the USA. Jason is like a skater that we love so much, and he's shown us so many good results in the past. I'm putting him in 12th, which I think a lot of people might think is a lower result that they predict, but I'm putting him in 12th because he hasn't competed since Skate Canada back in October. So that's why I'm going to put him down here, unfortunately. I haven't seen enough of him, and we haven't seen enough of him recently to really justify how well he's going to do at Worlds. For instance, he withdrew from US nationals that he was going to compete at because of equipment issues, but supposedly those have been solved and he's shown a lot of his technical potential again. But I am not too sure, and not a lot has been shown to the public eye at least. And so this could be a really, really good competition or a really, really bad competition for him. Regardless, I really do believe in Jason Brown. Last year, for example, he was amazing with a 5th place finish, but he did have more momentum going in after competing at US Nationals. This season, he didn't compete at US Nationals. He hasn't competed since October. I'm just not too sure how well everything will go considering that he hasn't competed in a while. He had those equipment issues and not too sure how everything's gonna work out. But I believe in Jason so much, and I really want Jason to be absolutely amazing here. Especially skating at home here in Boston. Home World is very special for him. He hasn't had a home world before. Yeah, I think so. And so obviously super important competition at home. I hope he can just skate the best he can. And that's all I want for Jason is to skate the best he can. I know he's had kind of struggles this season, but definitely a skater I love a lot. In 11th place from Georgia, I'm predicting Mika Igadze, who is really a technical powerhouse that has proven how far his technical ability can carry him. His 4th place at Europeans was a strong result, but he definitely wanted a cleaner free skate after being 2nd in the short program and unfortunately dropping down to 4th after the free skate out of the medal position. He is a skater where consistency can be a bit of a struggle, but I think 2 clean skates could shoot him up the standings like it's nothing. If we see 2 clean skates from Mika Igadze, which I definitely do think he is very capable of putting out under the right conditions, that could really shoot him up the standings, and he could go from 11th, honestly, up to 5th, 4th, maybe even 3rd on the podium for sure. And so, although he is quite strong technically, his components do need some work, and so he will be relying on strong GOE grade of execution on his jumps if he wants to make those higher rings. And I definitely do think he could pull a big surprise as a result of his strong technical ability. In 10th place, we have my absolute favorite skater who I really want to get a top 10 finish because I would just love a top 10. Please. And that is from Latvia, Dennis Valstijas. We all love him. Who doesn't love Dennis Valstijas? If you don't, get off, just stop listening, sorry. Who he really impresses with his strong component score, but I do think he needs that technical side. He has been kind of reincorporating his quad Salchow into in his programs this season. So if he attempts and is clean at the quad Salchows, one in his short, two in his free, could be a extremely huge score. But again, he hasn't done that in quite a while. And so that is kind of my only concern is like, right, like we are really good at the quads, like when they really matter. And I feel like if he really, really does land three quad South House, he could earn a huge score. And so again, I'm hoping that he can put on a great show for us. Both programs are absolutely amazing for him. I appreciate both of them so much. The fun short program to kind of like the disco vibe, the free skate, so elegant, so princely, so royal of him to skate. My favorite, and I wanna watch him skate live in person so bad, but I'll be watching from my living room couch, unfortunately. In ninth place, we have the Italian skating star making his comeback this season to some ups and some downs after that doping scandal that we still know nothing about, and that is Daniel Grazel, who qualified a Grand Prix final this season impressively, but then unfortunately placed an unexpected 8th place at Europeans. His score that was really high pitch, sorry. His score will entirely depend on the rotation of his jumps. This season, some judges have been really lenient with him. Some of them will have been really, really strict. And so a stricter judging panel will not be his favorite for sure. He really needs clean quads for high scores. And so getting that rotation is going to be his main goal. Again, his scores have varied wildly throughout the season. I believe he's had a 260 and then he's had 230. That's kind of all over the place because of judges calling out his rotations or not. It will really depend on the judging panel. If he has maybe a more lenient judging panel behind him and he lands his quad successfully without falling, without any obvious rotation issues, then I definitely do think he could be higher than ninth, maybe in the top five as well. In the 8th place, we have a Japanese skater who has a whole lot of potential with good skating and quads, but maybe just doesn't have the full consistency compared to some of the other skaters, and that is from Japan, Shun Sato, who is quite the strong skater with his technical side. He has had the potential for both the quadlets and the quad flip, and I believe he has landed both of those cleanly before. He really wants to have both cleanly landed in the free skate and maybe even in the short program if he attempts it there, because landing the quadlets and the quad flip, which are among the most valuable quads, will be very crucial to a good placement if done clean. Those skates that he had at Lombardia Trophy very early in the season in September were really quality. He really wants to be able to repeat those, now months later. He hasn't had a lot of success internationally, perhaps this season, kind of struggling with consistency here and there. But again, he has that potential when I think it matters. And I feel like Worlds obviously will matter a lot. And Japan has a very strong team going into these Worlds. And I think Shinsato really wants to be able to skate his best to make his country proud. And obviously, with Japan being such a competitive country in men's figure skating, put his name forward as, hey, like I'm one of the definite skaters you want to have on that Olympic team. From 7th place from Italy, we have Nikolai Momola, who has really begun to push forward. His name could surprise us quite a lot here. Again, another skater who maybe doesn't have the most consistent results, but he was recently at one of his most recent competitions, second at Europeans with a new personal best, with a really impressive skate. I really enjoyed watching that free skate from him. It was dramatic, it was strong, he had good lines going on, very big jumps. He is a very tall skater. I think he's like 6'4" in inches, foot inches. And so it's really crazy to watch him jump. A very dramatic jumping technique, I would say. Very whoa. It's definitely just like a whoa. But his main issues are under rotations and edge calls, especially on his valuable quadruple lutz attempts. And so really wanting to prevent those because that quad lutz is extremely valuable in terms of points and good GOE if done properly. And so he wants to avoid any issues with those. Moving into our top six, oh my gosh. From South Korea, we have Junwon Cha, who has made a big surge in terms of kind of a comeback this season. He won silver here at Worlds 2 years ago, and then he unfortunately had some struggles last season with consistency and other issues. But this season, he has had pretty good results all season, more success so far in the second half with the second place at Four Continents, and then he won the Asian Winter Games as well. So good results for him this season so far. Strong skating will put him very far. I think skating skills are one of the better ones in the whole entire field. And so he really wants to be able to get both quads done in the free skate. Will be a good score if he is able to. His skating quality is often, highly acclaimed, highly lauded by many people. And so I don't think that will be a huge problem. Technically will be his like main goal to skate as clean as possible. But I honestly could see maybe a surprise. Maybe he could even re-reach the podium here at these Worlds. You never know. In the fifth place, we have the biggest question mark for me heading into these World Championships, and that is from France, Adam Fa. We know that he had some struggles with injury earlier this season, and then he kind of recovered somewhat. I think it was an ankle injury that happened in the winter or something. Third place at Europeans recently with decent skates, but not near his best. He was first in the short, and I think he dropped down to third after the free skate. Clean skating will matter a lot, but he could definitely reach the last year. If you recall, we had Adam Schoenfeld be 19th place in the short program and then move up to third in the free skate, which was the craziest thing in recent figure skating history that I think I've probably seen in terms of placements. And so that really goes to show you we never know. I think Adam Schoenfeld could pull out the best free skate of his life here and totally reach the podium, or he might not because of some of those injury and inconsistency struggles that we've also seen. Very much a enigma. That's my favorite word. An enigma for me heading into these championships for sure. Fits with Adam Schoenfeld. Fourth place, I have a skater who knows how to skate when it really matters. I think that is his main personality. He was sixth place last year. That is Lucas Britsky of Switzerland. His first place result at Europeans was a huge surprise for all of us. He achieved an amazing personal best in the free skate. However, cleanliness will count a lot. He doesn't really have the amount of quads that the other skaters have, like quad flip or quad lutz. And so his quad toes, which are worth less in base value, he will be relying on very high GUEs to get those as best as possible, leaning those clean as possible. But that first place Europeans really put his name forward. And so I really do think he could maybe pull off a big surprise here. He did pull off that big surprise at Europeans, not saying that he can't pull another one off here at World. And so, good skater, consistency is pretty good, really strong there. But yeah, I really do like his skating. Think he could pull a surprise. Okay, in our podium positions, in third place, I have from Kazakhstan, Mikhail Shidorov. I always have chaotic predictions for this guy, and I do think that this might be the moment of the competition. This is the best season for him yet, and he recently did amazing with his first place at Four Continents. He had about a 20-point victory over second place, which was absolutely crazy for him. And I do feel like he does even have more to show, which is like the crazy thing is that he has more to show. His consistency can be a little bit up and down. His jumps might be clean one day, might not be clean the other. But his crazy quad combo, like a triple axel Euler quad sal, triple axel quad toe, I don't really know. Those will get him quite far. I love his chaos potential. And if anything, he's really already put a name for himself for this season. And I think this a world's medal for him, which is top the cake with a cherry, you know what I mean? Be the cherry on top. And so a really strong skate from Mikhail Shidorov could land him on the podium and cement him as probably the biggest, not a newcomer, but the biggest kind of rising underdog slash star this season for me for sure in the men's field. In second place, we have Japan's top skater who has the potential to do better and better with each competition. I really do think he has that ability to constantly reflect on what could have done better. And I feel like he just gets better every competition for me. And that is Yuma Kageyama of Japan. He will be attempting a variety of quads here. He has done the quad flip, he has done the quad toe, he has done the quad sal. He really needs to not pop those, which has been a common mistake this season, unfortunately, and to stay on his feet as best as he can. Last year at Worlds, he was second place as well. And, going into those Worlds, we had a lot of kind of like I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but going into those worlds, he definitely had a lot of success going in. Going to these worlds, he has a lot of success coming in. Definitely could, earn him another medal for sure. So yeah, clean skills or clean jumps will get him great GOE. Artistically, he's worked with skills with Carolina Kostner, for example, one of my favorite skaters ever. Choreography really does feel more complex than we have seen previously from him. He really is adding to the choreography. He's feeling it. And I need feeling in my choreography. I need feeling for sure. And I really do think Yuma Kageyama could even take the world title here if we see a big surprise. He hasn't been world champ yet, but this could definitely be his chance for sure. Okay. In first place, I am going with not the hometown, the home country skater, Ilya Malinin, who is the reigning world champion last year from Montreal, hoping to win another title here at home, following an only gold season this far, golds this season so far, meaning he has not dropped the competition yet. He has earned first at every competition he's entered. He is absolutely crazy. He is obviously the very first person to land the quad axel in competition. And I'm saying he could be trying his 7 quad free skate. Only the way he would lose is if those jumps are not the cleanest. Comparing to Yuma Kageyama, for example, Yuma Kageyama has earned higher scores at some competitions compared to Ilya Molina, but they just haven't competed at the same competition at those competitions. And so we'll definitely see. We did see at Grand Prix final, for example, how Ian Molina, he got a lot of his jumps called with under rotations, quarters, things like that. Really wants to be able to avoid those here, but he's worked on his artistic skills. He's becoming his own self on the ice, which is great to see. And so I think he's the most like definite or the most possible, I guess, skater that I could see take the world title. But it is the men's field, so I never know for sure. We never know for sure. Okay, I had a bit of a water break before we discuss the women because my throat was kind of dying on me. But we're back, we're back. The women's field is honestly the discipline that I am most scared to watch because a lot of these women have similar technical potential. And so it really does boil down to consistency. And I'm scared because that's kind of the scariest thing is when a lot of the skaters have similar potential in terms of technical ability. And so it's gonna boil down to like one jump could, make or break, honestly. And so it's so scary to watch. And so I'm scared but excited at the same time for women of the women's field. In 12th place, I'm going to predict Lara Nakagutman of Italy, who really impressed us with that bronze at Finlandia Trophy earlier this season at the Grand Prix. I do still argue that it should have been gold, but the past is the past. The water is going under the bridge. Whatever people say. Lara Nakagutman, she does struggle somewhat with consistency issues, but I'm really hoping that she can put great programs together here. Scores have been a little up and down, but clean progress will mean a lot. She almost scored 200 at Finlandia Trophy, could even reach 200 if she does clean skates. Good artistry, and I love the creativity in her programs. In 11th place, we have Anastasia Gubanova of Georgia, who has the kind of interesting reputation of doing great at Europeans and mediocre at Worlds, hoping to break that this season. If you recall, 2 years ago, she was first place at Europeans, and I think she ended up being 14th in the Worlds. Last year, she was second at Europeans, and I think that she was 13th at Worlds or something. Right, 13th. Yeah, I literally have it written down. 13th last year after second at Europeans. Yeah. And so, with that reputation is a little bit interesting. She was second at Europeans again this season, hoping to break that kind of unlucky streak of not doing so well at World after doing pretty good at Europeans. Best scores this season have been in the 1s, but we've seen her break 200 before quite easily. And so clean skating will mean a lot for Anastasia Gubanova. Hopefully here in Boston, not a European country, but maybe Gubanova can do Boston too. Boston is next to the Atlantic Ocean, which is next to Europe, so who knows? Oh, that was a bad joke, sorry. But I really do enjoy her skating. I think she has nice flow. Her programs this season have probably been my favorite from her that we've seen ever. And I think artistically she's, going with this more modern style, which I really enjoy. And, I really do like her skating and I think she will do quite great here at Worlds. I think this will be her year to do really good at Worlds. 10th place. 10th place is a skater that I have to use my favorite word for her. She is my enigma factor potential for this competition, and that is from the USA, Isabeau Levito, who we have not seen compete in such a big field since Skate America earlier this season in October. She did recently compete at a small competition, the Road to 26 trophy, that, looked okay. She definitely was landing triple jumps on a rotated a little bit, definitely not kind of the fully recovered Isabeau, that we saw pre-injury Isabeau, such as at Skate America. So I'm not too sure what it places Isabeau Levito because, we haven't seen her compete really at this high level of competition since October. She didn't end up going to US Nationals. She looked okay at that small competition she does, but this is a very huge field with a huge crowd skating at home. Not too sure where to place her, but she is, you have to remember, she is the silver medalist from Worlds last year. Could definitely pull off something here again. Not, definitely could pull off something for sure. And so could totally make a big surprise, especially she's getting at home. Maybe that crowd energy is going to get her going. Happy to see her back for sure, but I'm really hoping that she is taking the proper rest and recovery for her injury and that she can compete to her best here at Worlds. In ninth place, I have Nina Pinzolone, who is a Belgian skater who won bronze at Europeans this season. Strong jumps for sure, but she really does unfortunately get called on them a lot under rotations. A lot of people that I've seen have kind of commented on how she doesn't jump as high, but she does rotate very fast. And so that is kind of the balance we're getting here. And so she really wants to be able to rotate cleanly. The Belgian women's situation right now is quite interesting because of the injury of Luna Hendricks, who has, long time been Belgium's top women's skater. And so a lot of people are kind of, a lot of pressure is on Nina Pinzoloni to earn as many spots for Belgium as possible. People are hoping that Nina will earn 2 spots for sure, one for her and hopefully one for Luna Hendricks, who has yet to return to competition since September, I believe. And we will definitely be seeing how Nina Pinzoloni does. I think the main thing for her is that clean jumping potential. I really do enjoy her skating. I find that she has a style that is quite just like very all eyes on her kind of style with that kind of expression. That Gladiator program last season was great. This season she is skating to, cannot remember because I'm a little forgetful. The Handmaid's Tale, that's right. She's skating The Handmaid's Tale. Again, I feel like it's a program that kind of works for her for sure. I like it. I like the creativity. Great, great, great. Um, in eighth place, we have Switzerland's top women's skater, Kimi Rippon, who impressed us last year with a fifth place finish here at Worlds with an amazing free skate. It was a personal best, I believe, as well. That really shot her up the rankings. I think put her name up there. Fifth at Worlds is definitely not a small result at all. That's a very impressive result for Kimi Rippon. Her scores have been, again, around the ones this season, which is very comparable to a lot of the other women here. But, she could definitely pull a surprise if she goes completely clean. I always do find, again, another very special something about Kimi Rippon. I like the way she moves across the ice. Her Gladiator program this season, I feel like, does capture the vibe of the movie kind of well. I've never watched it, but, the vibe of the music for sure. And so she is a skater who has accolades to her name. We have seen her medal at Europeans before, that bronze back in 2023. Europeans this season, she was fourth, I believe. And so she is kind of aiming to be the best as possible. 2 spots for Switzerland is definitely her goal, definitely aiming for that. A skater who could really do well here if she does skate clean. In seventh place, we have the comeback queen of, the entire century, going to Worlds after 2 whole seasons off, and that is Alyssa Liu. Now, I do think that we should all kind of consider and realize that the last time Alyssa Liu went to Worlds was back in 2022, where she was the bronze medalist. Now, perhaps she does not have the same technical level as she had back then when she was back in 2022 at Worlds. And so maybe we aren't maybe what am I trying to say? Maybe she doesn't have the same technical level as she had back in 2022, but she does have a lot more like herself and style and components that I think she comes in with, which clearly could balance it out, really could give her a good score. Good results, especially on the Challenger Series this season. She was fourth at Four Continents as well. Unfortunately, this season, the judging panels have also called her a lot on her under rotations. So that could definitely make a big impact on her score. She'll really be wanting to avoid those, especially on her big combos that will earn her a lot of points. Her programs are so special. The short program to the Promise by Loife. I'm very sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And her free skate to Donna Summer. It's just so much fun to see, and I love that skating so much. I really do hope she keeps at least one of them at the Olympics. But if it is the last time we see these programs, they went out with a bang, I hope, for sure. Definitely has really re-entered her name out. Coming into the season, we were not really sure about Alyssa Liu. You haven't competed in 2 seasons. What's saying that you're still at the same level, that you're still good? But she has proven all the naysayers wrong, for sure. To me, she has proven all the naysayers wrong because she's re-entered her name as someone very competitive with a lot of experience. And she's grown so much at this season as a skater and, so much development in her artistry. That's the main thing. I think it's like night and day, and it's an amazing transformation to watch. In sixth place, we have another comeback queen in her own right, Wakaba Higuchi of Japan, who, came in the season again. Not a lot of people expected maybe like so much success of her, but she started off the Grand Prix season strong with that gold at Ski America. Victory there was huge for her. She then went on to earn the silver medal at Grand Prix de France with, again, beautiful skates, season's best there. Can be, someone who is again called out on quarter calls and under rotations. So it really depend on clean rotations and good component scores of her. But perhaps we'll have an outside shot at the podium for sure. I really do think maybe she could have the outside shot at the podium. I do know a lot of people would love to see Wakaba get another world medal to accompany her silver from 7 years ago, back in 2018, but she's grown so much as a skater since. And I love her Stranger Things free skate. Running up the hill it's such a good choice for Wakaba. Like, it fits Wakaba so well. And I'm like, that was such a good music selection for her. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Okay, in fifth place, I have a skater who shocked us all with her amazing comeback victory at Europeans. That was Nina Petrokina from Estonia, who, we had that home Europeans in Estonia, Talent Estonia this season. She went there, she proved us all that she is a great skater. I'd never seen her skate so strong. Amazing score. She kind of blew the whole competition out of the water. Hopefully she is able to carry that momentum here. If she is able to, repeat similar performances, that really could be the key to her getting even on the podium. Getting this top five finish would be huge for her. Obviously I don't expect that every competition, one competition going well means the next will, but I really do feel like I have a good feeling that this momentum from Europeans is going to carry her forward, that we will be very surprised from her here as well. Regardless of how she does, it was a great season for her with that European gold, skating at home in front of a home crowd. One of those like very special moments that you can't find, I think, anywhere else in the sport or even in the world. And so great skating this season from her. Hoping that she can carry her momentum from Europeans onto the world level for sure. Okay, we're getting down to our last few skaters. In fourth place from Japan, a skater who has really been relatively consistent this whole season, even managing a second place in front of everybody at the Grand Prix final, and that is Monet Chiba, who, made some unfortunate uncharacteristic mistakes at Four Continents, which unfortunately left her sixth there after a second place short. But I'm hoping that really was a fluke competition. That was honestly her only, not so good competition this whole season was Four Continents. Everywhere else, she's been very consistent above the 200s, above 205 even. Her consistency could really surely land her on the podium. If maybe mistakes are made by some of the top favorites. Lovely skating skills and lovely presentation as well. I really do like her free skate with that nice red dress and just nice flow, and like, she's a great skater to watch. And I feel like a skate that we've seen grown a lot as well. I remember her on skating on the junior level, and now she's on the senior level, and she's achieved so much success on both of those levels that it's great to see that. A third place skater I have is my kind of silent but deadly skater. She snuck up on us last year with a bronze at Worlds. She's hoping to make the podium once again, and that is Cheon Kim of South Korea. We last saw her recently skating at Four Continents in Seoul, South Korea, a home competition, where her performances were all both completely clean and just, among like masterclass level quality for sure. And, potential first place here, honestly, I really do see that she could potentially be first place here. Consistency is so strong from her. Those skates at Four Continents will like live in my mind, you know what I mean? Like rent free. No rent, no gotta pay nothing to live in there. But those skates are so strong from Cheon Kim. And I do think that could be kind of the case here. Maybe she did not make the Grand Prix final as she would have liked to this season. But again, clean slate. The momentum going into the second half of the season has been really strong. I definitely do think she could reach the podium again and maybe even get first if she can skate clean. In second place, I'm putting the three-time reigning world champion now, looking for a title repeat, Kari Sakamoto. I'm putting her here because her scores have been a little bit up and down this season, but she is, however, always on fire at Worlds, so I could see her easily taking the first place as well. She did skate earlier at the NHK Trophy, a Grand Prix, back in November. her performances there, I believe, earned her 230, above 230. I don't even know. Like, it was a crazy number. I didn't pay attention. Well, that type of score would practically seal her the gold medal here. I'm putting her here. Not sure maybe about the consistency at the beginning of the season. We did kind of see a little bit of inconsistency recently at the Asian Winter Games. Didn't have the free skate that she would have liked, and so not sure maybe if she can go all the way clean, but she's always on fire at Worlds, and we know she's a strong, strong skater. And I do believe in Kairi Sakamoto. She could be a four-time reigning world champ and take all the world titles this entire quad. I honestly could see that for sure. And so definitely going to the Olympics, she has probably the biggest momentum out of any of the skaters because of those world titles and all the success she's gotten for sure. And so it will really be cleanly skating that Kairi Sakamoto wants for herself. Okay, now in the first place position, I'm literally begging the skating gods right now for this to happen, and that is from the USA, Amber Glenn. Dun dun dun. Like when you hear that name, like you need to hear like the most heroic music. Like this is where a little bit of my bias comes in because she's my favorite, but I don't really care. It's my podcast. I can do what I want. You can't judge me. Sorry, I love you guys. Amber Glenn has had the best competition season of her entire career. She still has not dropped a competition at all. First place is all that she has known this whole season, and she obviously would love to continue that streak here by becoming world champ at home here in front of the whole crowd of Boston. I see it, you see it, we all see it happening. I am manifesting this like it's nobody's business. So, with Amber Glenn, she is one of the only women in the field attempting that triple axel. If she's able to land her triple axel in both of her programs, one in the short and one in the free, and all the other jumps are clean, she could potentially, get this title with a huge score against maybe a potentially clean Kairi Sakamoto. That will be a lot of dependence. I think Harry has more the component side historically, and so Amber Glenn with that technical side, it will kind of very be close if both of them are clean as possible. I believe though in Amber so much, and I love her so much. And regardless if she doesn't win the world title, this season has been so amazing for her that like that's the whole victory in itself. Like not to be sappy or philosophical, but like first at her Grand Prix, first at Grand Prix final, another US national title. It's just like this world title would just be the best, you know what I mean? But like we already have the best so far. So like is it greedy to ask for more? I don't know. I'm so biased. I'm so sorry that I'm so biased. But I love Amber Lynn. Like everyone knows. Like I'm just like I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so that was the women's event and all the chaos that will come with that for sure. Okay, everybody, so before my throat dies out, we do have to talk about pairs and ice dance. We're halfway through the disciplines, but I'm going to put a little less emphasis on pairs and ice dance as always, because I really do prefer men's and women's. I don't really watch pairs and ice dance as much. In the pairs competition, I'm never too sure to what to expect from the pairs at all. I don't really watch pairs a lot again, so it could go here or there or anywhere at this point, and I would not be shocked. In sixth place, I'm predicting the team of Ellie Kam and Danny O'Shea from the USA, who is a team I've really grown to like in only, I believe, their second season together as a partnership, or third season or second season, I can't remember. They really have been a great team pushing themselves forward. Pretty decent results overall. They did qualify even to the Grand Prix final, which was a major result for them. Only major, like, blunder or challenge perhaps was US Nationals, where we thought they were going to win the title. They were first in the short with a good lead, and unfortunately they had quite an unfortunate free skate that dropped them down to third place. But going into here, I think they have kind of that behind them going into this world competition. Another chance to skate at home, another chance to prove themselves in front of a domestic audience. They will want to stay clean on their throws and their side-by-side jumps, which are really the main issues, especially the throws. I think it's mainly their most inconsistent elements, but I really do believe in them. Again, skating at home, Paris is, maybe considered the US discipline that is not the strongest, but I do think they have the potential to help the US earn 2 spots, maybe even 3 if we have a very big success from them. In fifth place, we have the Georgian pair in their first full senior season. They did achieve some great success on the Grand Prix at NHK Trophy by winning there. That is Metolkina and Barulava, who are not extremely consistent. They have kind of up and down scores all over the place, but they have the potential to put some high scores up if they are really clean. Regardless, I definitely do think they have put their name up this season, and that is really a great result for them. And, I do think they have done that, especially as a younger pair as well. I do think they have kind of grown to get that success this season. In fourth place, I'm predicting the Italian team of Conti and Macchi, who, we've seen them achieve great success before. Bronze here in 2023. They've earned European medals as well. They were second, I believe, at Europeans this season, if that's right. I'm 90% sure that's right. So, definitely a lot of accolades going on in their field as well. Yeah, they were second. I'm not crazy. Ha ha ha. That was so creepy. What the heck? Again, they've been mostly above 200 points all season long, which is really the sweet spot where all these pairs want to be. If they can repeat their Cup of China performances where they earned a personal best, could totally land on the podium again given the right conditions for sure. In third place, I'm putting the world champs from last year who have really shown that they can skate well when it counts. Slato and Deschamps. Last year they were skating at home in Montreal. This year they're gonna come to Boston to skate. Not too far from Montreal for sure, compared to some other world cities. But coming to Boston, not too far from Canada. Maybe that will be lots of Canadian fans in the audience as well for sure. Maybe that will be their motivating factor to regain that world title. I do think they can get that world title again if they can skate really well. I'm putting them here mostly because of consistency this season. Maybe it just hasn't been as high level of consistency as compared to the other two teams. But I know they will put up a fight, especially at Worlds. A lot of Deschamps have an amazing story and just an amazing fight. A repeat of last year's performances could definitely regain that title for them. But unfortunately, they haven't had that level of performance so far this season. But it really could be a huge surprise for all of us. I find them to be a very strong team. Maybe side by side jumps are not their best element, but on the paired elements, I do think those are definitely their stronger skills that they can perform. Oh my god, my throat. Guys, I can't. Okay, in second place, I'm predicting the Japanese team of Miura and Kihara, who are really in their first full season after being injured last season, and then they only competed the second half of last season. But they have really built up more and more momentum this whole season. Last competition at Fort Collins, they put up a huge score for themselves. And, with that kind of score, again, could definitely regain another world title like they did have in 2023. I'm also hoping that they're able to skate their best and will be looking for cleaner rotations on their side by side jumps. Definitely, I think they can do it for sure. First place has been this team that has really put their name forward the most this season out of all the pairs, proven that even a little bit of partnership experience is still powerful. That's the German team of Hasse and Volodin, who again have only been, I like to remind you again, have only been partners for 2 seasons, not even 2 full years. And still, they're such a strong team that I think it's really hard to find this kind of like natural, like we just work well together. We work really well together. Good consistency from them, good scores. They've won gold in almost all their competitions this whole season. Their only silver was a Cup of China at the Grand Prix. But again, their cleanliness has been very solid. They really do want to be as clean as possible. GOE they achieve can be extremely high. Earlier this season, we saw them compete at the Nebelhorn Trophy in Germany, where they just had a free skate that just had more than 1 point on almost every element. Maybe the death spiral is not their favorite, best element, but everywhere else, the throws, the lifts, they're strong elements for Hasse and Bulletin. And that's where they're really going to shine. The amount of technical ability they have. But I really do think these top 3 pairs, these top 4 pairs could be kind of anywhere. This really could be a chaotic competition. So I don't want to make everything too definite for pairs at all. Okay, so ice stance. Ice stance is the last discipline we will discuss. Ice stance could definitely be a shocker event. I'm not too sure what to expect based on Europeans and Fort Collins this season. Those results at those competitions were a little different than I think my voice, oh my god, it's 10, guys. I can't what to expect because of the maybe irregular or unexpected results that we saw at Europeans and Fort Collins that happened in the second half season. Worlds in general tends to have higher scores for ice dance, I feel like. But like, why do I have a bad feeling a big surprise will happen? Like, is that a bad thing? I don't know. Like, ice dance is usually a calm discipline. It's the peace, it's the lavender smell, it's the sitting down and meditating. But no, like this could honestly be the most intense ice dance competition of the whole quad. And I don't know. Okay, in 10th place, I'm predicting the team of Reed and Ambrulevičius from Lithuania, who we saw them reach new heights last season with the third at Europeans and a 6th place at Worlds. They haven't competed quite a lot this season. That's something I've been commenting on. They haven't gone out and competed a lot compared to other teams. And so they really haven't achieved the same success yet this season. They have been clean, just without maybe the higher levels and the GOE that they really need. Haven't like fallen or anything, haven't had any huge technical mistakes, but not as high levels in GOE that they want. They could still pull a surprise. It's never too late for it to for sure. They could re-earn that sixth place finish from last season. A lot of people enjoy their free dance this season. But in any case, I do think they have a guaranteed spot for Lithuania at the Olympics. And Alison Reed obviously recently got her Lithuanian citizenship to be able to attend the Olympics, which is a great result for her after unfortunately missing out in 2022. In ninth place, we have the Spanish team of Olivia Smart and Tim Deek, who I do think has been that team to really put their name forward. Last season, we saw them in their, their first season. Oh my gosh, my throat. Their first season as a pair, and they were pretty decent, but definitely did not get their definitely did not maybe get all that they wanted in their first season together, but this season really got them going. Their Skate America bronze was major for them. They gradually got more and more personal best throughout the season. Fifth for Europeans was great for them as well. Could even get better scores here. Judges have been quite receptive to their Dune themed free dance as well, which is a really good one. Good one. I want to say great and good at the same time. A great and a good. It really could be a surprise for sure. Major improvements from last year's Worlds. Eighth place, I have the American Ice Dance team that served as alternates for the Grand Prix final, but have proven that their skills can often match the top in the world, and that's the team of Carrera and Ponomarenko. With Carrera and Ponomarenko, last year's seventh place finish at Worlds was great with new personal best for them. Maybe their scoring potential has not been as high as some of the other teams this season, but I find that their artistic impact is quite great. It could be a surprise. Again, skating at home for the US in Boston, we'll be looking at the home crowd for encouragement for sure. Maybe that will influence, better skating, bigger result for them. But regardless, I do think they've improved. They've grown a lot on me for sure. Seventh place is my favorite ice dance team, the Finnish ice dance team of Julia Turkila and Matthias Veslewis. That I can't live without them. I can't live without this game because it's so fun to watch. Earlier part of the season, maybe did not get all the scores they wanted, but kind of flipped that script around, turned the tables, threw them out the window. They got a fourth place with a personal best at Europeans. They were so close to getting third place. I was just like, come on, guys, come on, judges. You could have made them third, but I love their program so much this season, and I hope that really will carry them far. Hopefully they are able to stay completely clean. Early this season, I remember having a fall at one competition and some other, minor mistakes here and there. Hopefully they will be able to skate as clean as possible. And I definitely do think they could be seventh, maybe even higher compared to some of the other teams, depending on how well they skate. That Europeans performance definitely proved a lot of people wrong that maybe Turkey and Versluis weren't earning a lot of success. But very impressive for them. In sixth place, I have the British team of Fear and Gibson, known for their fun, crowd-pleasing programs. They earlier took the Skate America first place title, and then they were third at both the Grand Prix final and Europeans this season. They do very well in entertaining the crowd, but levels have maybe not been their best. Not their best friend is in those element levels. They were fourth at Worlds the last two seasons. Perhaps the same could happen here. They could even achieve a big surprise and maybe even reach the podium. But for sure, I think based on the momentum this season, maybe it hasn't been as high as some of the other teams. And so that's why I'm going to put them in sixth place for my prediction. In fifth place, I have the team who has grown the most this whole season out of all the ice dance teams. That's the French ice dance team of Loboreva and Brissot, who have both risen to the occasion with their opportunities. They've won a home Grand Prix de France, and then they went to a home Grand Prix final, which was a huge result for them after not qualifying the past few seasons. They won't be at home here in Boston, but hoping for big results regardless. Seeing them get second place at Europeans was a result not a lot of people expected. A lot of people expected third, maybe fourth place for them, but a second place finish definitely proved a lot of people wrong and showed how the judges do have kind of their side. Earning similar scores could very well place them higher if other teams make mistakes. Lots of development made for them, great for them, lots of entertainment, lots of fun, funky, unique elements in their programs that are fun to watch. In fourth place, I have the Canadian team of La Joie and Laga, who have made a ton of progress as quad. Last year's performance at home in Montreal, they were fifth there, which is an amazing score to skate to watch. They are aiming for above 200 of this competition. I do think that will be kind of the optimum score for them. And so they have had a lot of success getting there above 200 this season. They were recently third at Four Continents, and I do think maybe that this could be a very defining result for them if they could earn a fourth, a fifth, top five. I feel like will be their placement here at Worlds, and maybe even higher for the Joan Laga. Again, another scary thing a lot of people love, their potential. Third place, we have the Italian ice dance team of Guillart and Fabri, who have proved that experience is often quite the winning factor. They did have those earlier struggles that we saw at Grand Prix de France, but then they recovered really well to get another European title for themselves. So their third one, yeah, their third one. Scores maybe haven't again been as high as the other two couples that we're going to discuss next, but could be higher up on the podium if mistakes are made. I do love their skating a lot. I love their romance. I love the themes that they carry with them. The robot theme is so funky, but it's so much fun. I'm hoping that they can get as many spots as possible for Italy, especially considering the home Olympics next year. The second place team that I have here is the Canadian team of Gilles and Poirier, who are they are the very seasoned Canadian ice dance couple. Love them to pieces for their skill and their uniqueness. They could potentially even take first. We have seen them put up some big scores before. Their performances recently at Fort Collins just last month were the best we've seen from them all season. Like, I don't really know. I really want them to get a world title in their career. Maybe this is the year they get a world title. I have no idea. This could be it. This could be their world title to take. I would love to see it. They were fantastic in Montreal last year. This season in Boston, again, not skating at home, but very close to Canada. But I love their skating a lot, and so I would love to see them earn another world title. I think they're so artistic and fun to watch. In first place, we have the team looking for their third world title here in Boston. Skating at home is major for them. Madison Chalk and Evan Bates recently married. This could be a huge, kind of a honeymoon, I guess. Going to Boston and gonna get another world title is a cool head. I guess they went to Paris to get gold medals, so I don't know. I will note that recently at Fort Collins, they did have a close second place finish to Gilles and Poirier, who beat them. It was a very, very close finish, so I could see either teams being flipped here. Not too sure what will happen here in Boston. Maybe the home advantage will give them more of a lead, and so that might be it. And so that might be kind of the determining factor is that winning crowd. We saw last year in Montreal, Gilles and Poirier being first in the free dance, but not overall. So this could really go anywhere. I'm not sure. Maybe Gilles and Poirier will come out top. Maybe Chalk and Bates will regain their world title. Could be anywhere. Regardless, I do think that US has guaranteed 3 spots for ice dance at the Olympics. There's kind of no way that they're not getting it. So no worries specifically there. This event is about ensuring their spot at number 1 in the world and really expressing that Chalk and Bates will take that Olympic title next year, which I think a lot of people have been expecting for quite a while. With that, that was a very long episode of the Teen House Game podcast. But those were all my predictions for the 2025 World Figure Skating Championships. Let me know what you think, what your predictions are. Next week will be a bit, I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to do 2 separate episodes like last year. Last year I did pairs and women as one episode as the World's Review, and then I did men and ice dance, or one combined episode. It will depend on the schedule of the competition. I do think most likely I will do 1 or 2 separate episodes, one for pairs and women next Saturday, and then the Saturday after will be men and ice dance. And yeah, we are in for a very big ride here, very big chaos potential as we continue this final stretch of the 2024-2025 figure skating season. Thank you so much for coming along with me this whole journey. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Teen Talk Skating Podcast. See you next week for part 1 of a World's Review for the pairs and women's event. And have a great experience watching Worlds. It is the best competition of the entire quad, and I hope you really do enjoy it. And bye bye.